I just have a quick question about the fresh ginger. You're looking for fresh ginger root, I'm guessing. I've never bought it before, that's why I'm asking. That might be a dumb question. But anyway, I'll talk to you later. I love you. Bye-bye.
Alana.
Yes.
How's it going, babes?
Good. How are you?
I'm great. You recently left the shower and brushed your teeth, got all nice and clean.
Got all nice and clean and smelling all fresh and all that.
So far, we're doing this around, 10:16 in the morning on a Sunday. We've had a very fun morning, I would say.
I say that too.
Yes. Got up around 6, talked for a while. Now, I don't know if we should go here, but this never stopped me before. I have a friend who has a birthday.
Yes.
And I texted him, knowing that he was going to be spending it with a girl, and told him that I wanted to hear about his weekend of debauchery later this week. You were a little bit upset with that.
Well, it almost reminds me about how women are. Part of it reminded me of how women are when they're like, I want to know everything about your date. Everything. Tell me everything, right? From what you wore to what he wore to the kiss to whatever it was,
I just want the greatest hits, not the full album.
Right, and I'm just like, isn't it better to know that he was trying to figure out if he wanted to date this girl rather than knowing all the details? I just thought that debauchery would be encouraging bad behavior on your part.
I just want to know the salacious stuff, babes. Yes.
Who cares?
I do.
I don't care.
Well, I do. Okay. And I'm going to tell you every single detail I want.
No, I don't need to know
I'm
every
joking,
single
babes.
detail.
I would not do that.
That's just not right.
No. He tells me because he wants me to know.
Well, I don't really care to know any of the conversations you have when I'm not around because it's not my business.
It's quite, babes.
I'm not as open as you are.
Fascinating.
It's not that fascinating. Oh. I'm just more private. You see?
Interesting. Well, moving on, since you don't want to go there.
No, not really.
We eventually ended up on your couch and did some leg stretches, which was fun.
After we had some brownies and cocoa.
Very healthy people.
I know.
Now, I will say this. I do need to get on a diet soon, which I said the last time, but it's time to lose some weight.
I really don't think you should get on a diet. I think what needs to happen is that you cut back on the things that you know you shouldn't be eating more of.
Like chocolate, hot chocolate. And
I know.
brownies.
Yeah. It doesn't help that I, I like it too. And I should.
We should say it was your idea. I wasn't going to suggest that for breakfast, but you said.
I wasn't sure. I was going to make something else, but you weren't going to like it. And I was going to like it.
Oh, so. The egg thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I would have loved it if you stop.
You're playing with your phone.
Yeah, I am. I was trying to wipe something off of it, but I mean, I wasn't gonna force you, but I wanted you to try some eggs that were actually good, but you weren't gonna fall. You weren't gonna take that idea. So
that is a subject for another time. Babes.
Another time.
Go ahead.
No, I was done.
Last night we made the Boca burgers and the garlic knots.
Yeah.
I bring them over and you only had one nod. Not nod. Okay.
I did because the Boca burger, including the bread, to me was really filling, and I was just savoring it because I like. I'm a burger person on occasion. I like a burger, but I keep forgetting that this is not a real burger. I don't know what the heck is in this burger, but if I didn't know what it was, it would have tasted to me like a chicken burger.
I also flavored the patties a little, in the buns.
Yes, with the butter. Mm-hmm. What else did you put in there?
A little bit of crushed garlic.
It was really good.
And just a touch of blue cheese, and we, put it in the oven for a little while.
Yes, it was delicious.
Thank you.
And so the burgers turned out really good. I bought the barbecue sauce. I still have some buns left. What was I going to say? I liked how we made the knots. They tasted really good.
Who do you think makes them better, me or Domino's?
Oh, definitely you.
Okay.
Because they could add a little bit more flavor. Mm-hmm. It's possible that they made them the day before and froze them and then made them or cooked them again.
Well, that's my assumption, right?
That's
because
what
that would
thinking.
Be the easy way to do it.
Right, but it's a fast food place. What do you expect, right? Mm-hmm. But no, those were really good. And I liked how you folded the cheese in there. And I'm like, I don't like blue cheese by itself, but it really went well with the bread.
It did.
And making the bread went faster than I thought it was going to go.
Bread's not as difficult to make as people will have you believe, once you got the basics down.
Yeah. Adding the olive oil really helped it. And you're right, though. The apple cider vinegar and the bread just gave it a lot of flavor.
I'm thinking the next time I do the knots, I want to use toasted sesame seed oil. Because I think that would add a nice flavor to it.
It might.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Would you add cheddar cheese to the blue cheese?
I'm thinking about it.
It sounds delicious, yeah. I think that would taste really good. Yes. Sprinkle a little bit of I forgot to ask you to sprinkle some Parmesan in there because I had crushed Parmesan, but
yeah, I'm addicted to the fresh stuff now.
I know, you're a little spoiled brat.
Oh my goodness, you're the spoiled boy.
Hey, what?
I don't know.
I'm not.
I don't know about cheddar now that I'm thinking about it, but maybe some mutz.
Mutz
and blue cheese, yes. Mutz.
Who calls it mutz?
And crushed garlic inside of it.
That would be delicious.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure it would taste heavenly.
I'm glad you like the one that you had. I was afraid that you were going to spend so much time listening to PDQ Bach that you weren't going to get into it.
Yes, because I put on some PDQ Bach. And for those of you who don't know who that is, Peter Schickele is a music professor. I think he's still around. And he created a composer named P.D.Q. Bach.
He won a Grammy for Best Comedy Album in, I want to say, 1989.
Wow. Against
Sam Kinison, who had just put out the album Have You Seen Me Lately?
That says a lot. Wow.
I don't know if I go for the Grammys as a arbiter of taste, though, because I believe the Beatles didn't win any. They had no Grammys, if I'm correct.
It's possible. I don't know that.
I don't think Ice Cube has a Grammy. There's so many people who deserve them. I don't think Tupac ever won any of them. Or Gangstar.
Yes. Yeah, I don't know. I've stopped watching the Grammys a long time ago. I don't even remember the last time I watched them. I just don't watch them anymore. I used to watch the American Music Awards when I was younger, and
they're fun.
I stopped watching them a long time ago, and I stopped watching the MTV Video Music Awards, and I just stopped watching it.
I don't watch award shows, but when I was younger, I enjoyed the American Music Awards and the MTV
Video Music Awards, yeah, and the movie awards.
Yeah,
those are fun, but now they just don't seem so fun anymore.
It's just that we've gotten older, babes, and we've seen how the sausage is made. That's why we don't like them. But I bet that there's 12-year-olds who still really enjoy those award ceremonies.
I think I liked it more when it was something that I was paying attention to. Like, these are the actors that I was paying attention to at the time. The one that I liked was when Sarah Jessica Parker was hosting the MTV Movie Awards. That was fun.
I don't think I saw that time.
Yep, that was a fun show.
What year was that?
I used to watch the People's Choice Awards. When I was a kid and I was into Nickelodeon, I used to watch the Kids' Choice Awards that they used to host.
I didn't watch that. Too much slime for my taste.
Ooh, I would have loved to have been a person to slime somebody.
Oh.
And you would be my first victim.
Oh my goodness, whoa.
I remember when I was a kid, Nickelodeon did an advertisement for green slime shampoo. It gets you clean. It won't turn you green.
Nice.
Yeah. So it's supposed to be a kid shampoo to clean kids' hair.
Interesting.
Yes.
Now, what year did Sarah Jessica Parker host the MTV Movie Awards? Well, what were the big movies when she was hosting?
Pay It Forward. It's been so long, I can't even remember.
I don't think I saw that film.
No, it's a good film. I liked it. I mean, it may not be the best, but I think it's at least worthy of a 7.
Okay.
I forgot. It was such a long time ago, but it was a fun show, and Haley Joel Osment, I think, won for I think he won for Best Supporting Actor.
Oh, that was that movie you were telling me about the other day with him and Helen Hunt that I saw the preview to.
Kevin Spacey.
But I said I thought looked stupid.
Right.
Yes.
Well, some of the movies you thought looked stupid were actually good movies.
That is true, but generally speaking, I'm a good judge of about that type of thing.
I personally thought it was a good movie.
Okay.
And I think the pay it forward concept is a good concept to think about. Yeah.
Moving on. Because I don't want to address that controversial subject right now.
What?
I don't know.
Okay. What ifs?
But skip the award shows.
All right.
They suck now.
We don't watch them.
What?
We don't watch them anymore.
No. I'd like to come up with my own award shows.
You heard of the Razzies, right?
Of course.
Yeah, they should have an award show just for the Razzies.
What do you mean an award show? They are an award show. I
never watched it. I just know that they were given out to movies that were really bad, or to movies that weren't doing very well, and they got Razzies.
I wish I remembered the movie, but I was watching something online about some actress got a Best Supporting Oscar nomination and a Razzie nomination for the same film.
Oh, wow.
In the early 90s.
Really?
Yes.
Wow, how's that possible?
Must have been a divisive movie, babes.
Do you remember what the movie was?
I just said I wish I remembered the movie.
Oh.
Yes.
Do you at least remember who the actress was?
No.
Oh.
I'm bad with that type of stuff, babes.
Okay, well, I guess it wasn't that important.
Yes.
Okay.
Jaylo?
Yes.
Before we get into the films we watched, yesterday, you and I decided to view a little bit more of Deep Space Nine.
Oh, yeah.
Do you want me to get into it, or would you like to?
Yes, go ahead. Because this is some complicated stuff.
Yeah. There's some crazy shit here, people.
He said it, I didn't.
I'm going to start with the Martok storyline and then move on from there. First I got the cough. We discover early on in the two episodes that we watched that the Federation fleet and the Romulan ships were destroyed, but in the attack at the Dominion where we lost the Defiant. Mm-hmm. But there was a Klingon ship that survived the attack, and for some reason, we still don't know why, the Klingon warbirds are able to withstand the attack by the Dominion. So that means that Martok is the one in charge of this, and he has to help the Federation while they end up helping Damar, which we will get to soon. But Gowron, Chancellor Gowron from the Klingon High Council, visits the station. He gives Martok this award that's in celebration of Kahless, who is basically their version of Jesus.
Right, yeah.
And after the ceremony, he's like, you have done such a good job, but I really think it's time for me to take a more proactive stance in commanding this war. So from now on, I'm going to be running stuff.
Yeah.
He sends Martok into these battles that he keeps losing. Worf speculates that the reason Gowron is doing this is because he wants to humiliate Martok so he can never run for political office on the homeworld. Mm-hmm. Right? And meanwhile, it's interfering with the war. There's a very interesting scene where he's hanging out with Ezri, and she starts talking about, I know that Jadzia and Curzon were big fans of the Klingons and your guys' culture.
Yeah.
But if you ask me, I think it's very corrupt. Your government isn't working right. you're one of the most honest people I know, and even you are making excuses for Gowron.
Mm-hmm.
Unless somebody steps up, I think the Klingon Empire is doomed to fail.
Mm-hmm.
Worf thinks about this for a while.
Mm-hmm.
These words begin to resonate with him.
Mm-hmm.
Eventually, after a lot of lost battles, he's hanging out with Martok, and Gowron is giving him orders, saying you should really do this. I'm the guy in charge. You're going to take your orders from me.
Right.
Worf challenges him to a battle.
Mm-hmm.
Worf wins, has the opportunity to become the head chancellor and run the Klingon Empire, but decides that Martok is a more worthy man because it's not about Worf, it's about saving the Empire.
Yes.
So, we now have Martok who's running stuff on that front.
Oh.
Now, let's go to the plot with Damar, Major Kira, Garrick, and Odo, if you want me to.
Go, yes.
Okay.
Because that is a very, very complicated plot line. Well, yeah, there's a lot of twists and turns in that.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
We remember from the last episodes that we discussed yesterday that Damar decided to turn against the Dominion. But he's going to need help because he's a soldier and he's great with traditional fights. But he doesn't have the experience to really fight an untraditional war.
Right.
And he needs somebody who could teach him. Somebody like Major Kira.
Uh-huh.
But Kira, or Colonel Kira.
Colonel Kira.
Yes. She can't just go in there because she has a Bajoran rank.
Yes.
And that doesn't hold a lot of respect amongst the Cardassians.
Mm-hmm.
So Admiral Ross decides, along with Ben Sisko, that they are going to commission her as a Starfleet officer. Now, for clarification, this doesn't mean that once he comes back, she's going to be captain of her own starship. It just means that for this mission, she has a rank of commander.
Yep.
They also decide that, Garrick is a good spy. He's also a Cardassian, so he can help her navigate this field with understanding their culture. So they send him along and Odo. Before they leave, Dr. Bashir asks Odo for a sample of his DNA because he wants to see if he can use our favorite changeling to learn how to make an artificial heart. So they leave the station. They're on their way to meet up with your man Damar.
He's not my man.
Okay, good. I am.
Yes.
With your Cardassian Damar. And they get a transmission from Julian. We know that the founders have some weird disease.
Yes.
What we were not aware of until this point is that Odo is also suffering from it.
Yes. In the worst way possible.
Well, not quite yet, but Dr. Bashir doesn't know how long he's had it. He assumes it's when he merged with a female changeling like a year ago, but that's just an assumption, and he doesn't know how long Odo has left. So they let him know that. They go up, meet with Damar and his men, who are very apprehensive about working with these people. There's a scene where, I don't remember the guy's name, but they say it a few times in the episode. He comes over to Odo in front of Kira and basically says, hey, what was it like when you worked for us and you knew that you were condemning all these Bajorans to death by working at Terok Nor?
Yes.
And Kira steps between them, stops the whole thing, then gets really upset. They keep sending Odo out on these missions to help basically create acts of terror against the Dominion.
Yep.
Right? And because he's doing this, he has to take many different shapes. He starts to suffer the effects, begins to isolate himself more. There's a great scene where Garrick goes to see him, and he's about to leave, and then Garrick looks back and is about to say something nice, but Odo says, if I don't want sympathy from the woman I love, why would I want it from you?
Exactly, yeah.
Garrick grants him the respect of going away. There is a big target that Major Kira is looking at, and her thought is, we steal this ship, we give it to the Federation so they could come in and fight alongside us, because right now they basically can't because of their technology.
Right.
She's like, okay, we're going to take Odo on this mission. Garrick pulls her aside, tries to drop some knowledge on her, and she basically goes, "Bro, I already know he's suffering. He's my man. I'm just trying to grant him a little bit of dignity as long as I can. And he wants to be part of this mission, so I think he's going to help us." Mm-hmm. They arrange to be captured by the Dominion and pretend that Major Kira is a prisoner because they're so Cardassians. Mm-hmm. One thing leads to another. They get on the bridge of the ship. Odo pretends to be the founder lady. Hands, Garrick a weapon. He starts shooting. They take over the bridge. They're about to kill the rest of the crew by gassing them to death. Mm-hmm. But they have to wait until they install this weapon by the brain, which is going to take some time. Yep. The Cardassian who was harassing Major Kira and Odo earlier in this episode, we should also say, which I left out, that he threatened to kill a Major Kira at some point. Mm-hmm. And I know I keep calling her Major Kira.
Yeah, I know. It's okay.
There's time travel in Deep Space Nine. So
I think people can,
they know who I'm talking about.
Right.
Yes, this ain't the mirror universe.
Yeah.
Anyways, he pulls a weapon on Kira. Mm-hmm. Garrick pulls a phaser on this dude, and Damar is left to decide who to kill. Mm-hmm. He eventually decides to murder his friend and says to Major Kira and the rest of the gang he wants a Cardassia that no longer exists. Oh. We should also say that earlier in this episode, while they were going to be captured, Damar found out that his wife and son were murdered by Wei-Yun. Mm-hmm. He says, what kind of a government would kill innocent people? Yep. Major Kira makes some snide remark about, you guys did this. Mm-hmm. Damar walks away. Mm-hmm. She's left alone with Garrick, and she's like, maybe I shouldn't have told him that right after his family got murdered. And Garrick's like, it'll resonate more coming from you. Right. So they're on the bridge. Kira goes over to Odo as he's dying, sits down next to him. Now that's kind of where the episode ends, but there's a few things we didn't cover. And I know I'm treating the 2 episodes that we saw as one. Yes. But that's how the story goes too. Yeah. It's part of one big finale. So. Yeah. So let's go back and that's right. And talk about the disease that Odo had.
Oh, it's awful.
We believe that the reason it's getting worse, and that it was the founders noticed it before Odo did, is because they change shapes a lot. Mm-hmm. And somehow when you shapeshift, it advances the disease, right? And Odo shapeshifts, but not to the extent that his people do. And he has to do a lot of changing of shapes for these missions. Mm-hmm. Okay. Julian Bashir is having some issues getting the medical records of Odo from when they did a scan of him a few years earlier. Mm-hmm. He eventually gets the information, and he begins to suspect that somebody created this disease and placed it in Odo. Mm-hmm. Now, we never watched these episodes because I don't think that they're that good, to be honest. Yeah. But there is a part of Starfleet called Section 31. And the way I described them to you yesterday is by saying that some people think in this country we have a deep state.
Yeah, they're like the higher ups in the government.
This is kind of like the deep state of the Federation.
Okay.
So they're debating, what do we do? O'Brien wants to go to Captain Sisko and tell them we need help with this. But Bashir is afraid, well, if we do that, then they're going to know that we know it's them, and they're going to send somebody from Section 31 to destroy our medical evidence, right? Right. Mm-hmm. So they're brainstorming. Eventually, they come up with the idea of, well, what if we contact Starfleet Medical and say that we no longer need their help because we discovered a cure? Mm-hmm. Then they'll send somebody from Section 31 to destroy the evidence, and we can capture them. Now, at this point in the storyline, where we finished the episodes, they have not done that. They've only come up with a plan. Mm-hmm. But I think I covered most of what happened in the show. Okay. Unless you have something that I missed.
No, I think that was, I think that's good, because we want people to see it too. Yes. We don't want to just give everything away.
And I like to spoil.
No, you don't mean to do that, but you got to make sure that you don't do that.
I want to discuss the show. And if I just say, hey, we're discussing this and there's no context for it, it doesn't really make sense. So in my mind, people listen to me say, we watch Deep Space Nine. They'll pause it and go watch the episodes. But I don't know if that's true or not. That's what I hope people do. Or else they are going to have a lot of things ruined by listening to me.
Exactly, yeah.
What was your overall impression of these 2 episodes?
I think as a whole, there's a lot of twists and turns to both of them. The complication with Damar and what kind of a person Damar is, and who he should kill. What was going on with Rousat?
That's the name of the dude.
Rousat, yes.
Yes.
Because remember when I forgot who was talking to Kira. I forgot who was talking to Commander Kira, because she was a commander at the time of the war. Mm-hmm. I forgot who said, the only way that you're going to fix what's going on is that you kill Rousat.
That was Garrick.
Okay. And then you've got what was the disease that's affecting the founder and the changelings, and Odo, especially Odo, and how Dr. Bashir is trying to find something that could fix it. He's trying to decode it, and then you've got the thing with Ezri and Julian that we never really mentioned because it was a subplot.
Yeah, and I'm not a huge Ezri fan either way. And Julian's one of my least favorite characters.
No, I'm not either. I mean, I don't know why they put her in here. I mean, she seems like a nice person, but why? They should have just... You know what they should have done?
What's that?
They should have, ended the Dax symbiont hosts with Jadzia.
I completely agree.
Yeah, I think they should. Because, she died and...
Let her be a death.
Right. Let her go to Stovacor in peace.
And bring somebody new on, not Ezri, but, a counselor to deal with everybody.
Yeah, not a counselor that was just, had the Dax symbiote implanted in her. In
some ways, she feels like the female version of Reginald Barkley.
Oh, yeah. Broccoli,
yes.
Oh, yeah, the one that kept wanting to go to the holodeck
and make up these weird fantasies about everybody on the show.
And he was just so, so timid and didn't have anything going for him. He just was kind of fidgety.
I know that they brought him back in Voyager for a couple of episodes.
Was it a good one?
It was good. Voyager is very, very hit and miss. Some people say it's their favorite Star Trek series. I cannot say that because there's so many bad episodes, but they have some really great stuff in there too. But
Deep Space Nine is just full of good stuff.
Yeah, that's why DS9 is the best Star Trek show, in my opinion.
What about TNG and the original series?
They're great. Listen, I can't say that I disagree with somebody who chooses those shows over DS9.
Yeah.
I can only say that for me, Deep Space Nine is my favorite Star Trek show.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to deny anybody who loves the original or the Next Generation.
Uh-huh.
But people who think Voyager is their best series should probably have their head examined.
Or they're just not a Trekkie.
I wouldn't go that way. I know some hardcore Star Trek people who love Voyager.
Oh, okay. Even though you don't understand, yeah. Mm-hmm.
There's too much bad to recommend the good.
It's just bad. Too much bad that outweighs the good. Yes.
Yeah, I'd like to show you Voyager at some point, but you know how I skip a lot of episodes?
Yeah.
Instead of spending, 6 or 7 months on Voyager like we did with DS9, we could probably get through it in a month.
Yeah.
I
understand.
Yes. But back to this episode.
Mm-hmm.
What does Major Kira tell us about letting our loved ones die with dignity?
I would imagine that, even though she knew what was happening to him, I would imagine it was just very, very, very painful for her. Because if you remember, she lost another boyfriend in the past, Bareil.
Mm-hmm.
She had to deal with that. And, who was the other one? And then she was with, what's that guy's name?
Shakar.
She had to deal with that breakup.
Mm-hmm.
And she was also trying to figure out what she wanted with Odo. And seeing someone that she does love now, and how much Odo loved her ever since, right? For a very, very long time, even though he'd had other relationships. I would imagine that Kira is really the love of his life. And how is she dealing with that? I can't really imagine. She's probably in a lot of emotional pain.
I forgot a major plot point to these 2 episodes was what happened with Adami.
Oh, yes.
And
why don't we quickly go over that?
Do you want me to, or would you like to?
Go ahead.
We know that Adami killed one of her servants, and in these 2 episodes, to go through it very fastly, she pretends like he disappeared. She doesn't know what happened, and she keeps trying to decipher the book, which is supposed to bring upon the Paw Wraith. Mm-hmm. Okay. So one night she goes to do her thing. Mm-hmm. And guess who walks in? Galdecott to try to examine the book.
Right.
He's looking at it, enjoying it, and then is blinded.
Yep.
She's back.
She's blinded, yep.
Has him examined by doctors and said, they say nothing's wrong with your eyes, but I know that you were blinded because that book is meant for my eyes only. So she tells him, all right, we're going to release you, put you on the street. You will find that the Bajoran people are very kind and friendly, and you'll probably be able to get enough money, if you beg, to get a meal and maybe someplace safe to stay for that. He's like, you're joking. And she tells him, no, bro, I'm not. You're going out to the street. When you proved yourself to me,
then you can come back.
Yeah, once you come back when you have your vision and you can do something.
I thought it was hilarious
for Adami. Yeah, I like that too because it shows how mean she is.
She is mean, but I think for good reason. I know. I don't condone meanness, but I think because of what he did to her. Remember how he deceived her, and made her think that he was this. What do you call it? This prophet or whatever. And
man sent by the prophets, I would say.
Man sent by the prophets, I'm sorry. And he was just trying to hoodwink her, just like he's done that before.
I see what you're saying. I would push back a little bit because she was willing to stay with him until he got blind.
Oh, right.
Because of the book thing. Right?
Okay, so I go back and forth with it now that I think about it. Because, Galdecott's not a good person, okay? He's a very wicked and evil Cardassian. Is he a Cardassian?
Yes, he is.
Yeah.
But the surgeons have made him look like a Bajoran.
Right. And the fact that he has been disguising himself as a Bajoran, pretending to be a prophet of the Paw Wraiths because he, found the Paw Wraith religion to be what he wanted, and a lot of the people that followed him died because of it. He's not a good guy, and I kind of think that even though it was horrible that she turned him away because he was blind, I think that he just had a taste of his own medicine. That's how I see it.
Very good, babes.
Yeah.
What does Adami teach us about stepping on the toes of the people who got you into power?
She doesn't care. She is, like you said in the last episode, she's only out for herself. She's not out for anybody else. It's only her. In her world, everything revolves around her, and she's in her own universe.
Is she a bad person, or?
Yes.
Or,
Okay.
I think that, full disclosure, I do think that she's a bad person.
Okay.
But I want to present you with an alternative.
All right.
Or is she somebody who survived an occupation, and because of the pain she may have suffered in childhood and throughout some of her adult years, is led to believe that the only way she can survive is to screw other people over? Was she just taught bad lessons, I guess, would be another way to phrase it.
Maybe that could have contributed to how mean and how cunning she is. But after a while, even though those things may have contributed to her, and we don't know. I don't know what her past is. at what point do you learn that you can't just step on anyone's toes just to get ahead?
Okay. When Deep Space Nine, the show starts, like 7 years before this.
Yep.
Bajor is very new as far as being out of the occupation. They just got out of being occupied by the Cardassians.
Okay.
So, again, I do agree with you, but I don't know that she's had that much time to really adjust to being a free person and to learning these lessons.
Oh, I would agree with you on that too. I mean, I don't think that, I don't know about her past, but she hasn't, I think you're right. I don't think she has had time to really adjust, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And in that time, she has still been the person that she has been.
Yes, she is a bitch.
You said it, not me.
Or maybe a cunt, I don't know. Beeps!
Hey,
I love you. Hey. We love Adami, though.
No,
We're going to start an Adami fan club after this. And do a whole podcast about how do you feel about Adami now? Can we get her number and interview the actress who played her? But until that day, babes, let's get back to this episode and some of the other players in this scenario. What do you think Worf teaches us about standing up for your friends?
As far as Martok being
goes.
the leader?
Yes.
I think that Worf is very loyal to Martok because he became a part of the House of Martok later in life. Even though he was a part of the House of Mogan, I think there was something wrong with his lineage, right?
There was. But that's a whole
another story. But that shows true friendship, I think. That he really is loyal to Martok because Martok is family.
He's somebody that you want in your corner.
Absolutely. He's a good leader.
Yes.
Absolutely. Worf's a good guy.
He's an honorable man. He's flawed, though. I mean, if you look at his relationship with Alexander.
He is flawed, but I think he recognizes that he is flawed, but he is an honorable person overall.
These two episodes have a lot of great stuff in them. But probably my favorite scene is when Worf is hanging out with Ezri and she talks about the government and how flawed it is. What does Ezri teach us about speaking your truth?
So she's saying that, okay, let me explain to me again. She's talking about how flawed the government is, but what did she say about Jadzia?
Well, Jadzia and Curzon were both big fans of the Klingon Empire.
Yes.
And they believe in the Klingon cause. But Ezri has a different perspective. She sees that the Klingons are flawed and sometimes fool themselves, and that's going to lead to their downfall. And she knows that Worf may not be receptive to this news, but she speaks her truth anyway.
I think that she, whether or not Worf would receive it, she was willing to tell him the truth even if it was going to hurt.
This might be my favorite Ezri scene in all of Star Trek. But, I mean, she's only on it for 1 year.
Right.
That's not saying a whole lot.
Yeah, because she separated herself from those two hosts.
Yes.
And actually spoke her mind and not somebody else's mind. Not from somebody else's memories.
What do Chief O'Brien and Dr. Bashir teach us about disagreeing and coming together to find common ground?
What were they disagreeing about again?
They were disagreeing about whether or not they should go to Captain Sisko and tell him what was going on. Because Miles thought that Sisko would understand and try to help them with Odo. And Bashir was of the opinion of, well, if we go to him, he's our superior and he's going to inform Starfleet of the situation.
Yeah.
And that's going to put Section 31 on our ass when we don't need them. Okay. But they came up with a solution. They were proactive.
Yeah. Well, I think that in that case, Captain Sisko, as much as they are They love Captain Sisko. He is their superior. I think that this is a case where they had to do something that doesn't involve him because they don't have to go to him for everything.
But how do you feel about the way they came together and decided what they would do?
I thought it was fine.
Okay.
I thought that was necessary in this dire in this dire time that Odo's going through.
I also want to know what this situation can tell us about how the government aren't always the good guys. Right? Because they even have the best of intentions. The changeling are enemies. Let's kill them.
Right.
But in the process, they may end up murdering Odo.
Yes, absolutely. They didn't want to turn their back on Odo, I think.
But it's about them, but what do you think it teaches about how the government can sometimes be evil?
Well, I in this case anyway, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I think that it was definitely necessary for them to go behind the government and do what they had to do. They didn't want them to get involved. I think it was definitely necessary.
I do wonder how much of this plot line may have been inspired by the Tuskegee Airmen or some of the things we did to the troops during Vietnam. But honestly, I don't know enough to say for sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
But it is something to ponder as far as DS9 goes.
What does Martok teach us about how respect can sometimes hamper our success?
I don't know what you're getting at.
Okay. Martok, for lack of a better term, he has respect for the chain of commands.
Mm-hmm.
And he'll complain about what Gowron is doing to his friends, right?
Yeah, uh-huh.
But at the end of the day, he is going to show respect to him and follow his orders, even if it may get him killed. Also, it may lose them the war.
Interesting. That's hard. That's kind of a tough, he's like between a rock and a hard place. To me. I don't know.
So is Worf, but he ends up stepping up.
That's true. I don't know. That's really tough.
What do you think would have happened if instead of Worf having this conversation with Ezri, she would have had it with Martok?
It might have been a different outcome. I don't know if Martok would have agreed with her or disagreed with her. I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know.
Alternative history, maybe.
Yeah, I don't feel like I know enough about Martok to really answer that question.
I really like Martok, but something tells me he would have been abrasive. Mm-hmm. He would have realized that she was right.
Yeah.
But I don't think that he would have stood up to Gowron. I think that the tradition of the Klingon Empire would have gotten in the way of him stepping up for himself. And one of the advantages to Worf is he has spent a lot of time away from Klingons.
Yeah, he has. And
whether it be with the Rashenkos or his experience on the Enterprise or now on DS9.
He has a lot of life experience away from them, yeah.
Yes, and I think that perspective helped him do what he needed to do for the Empire.
And for all, looking on the outside looking in, for all intents and purposes, from our view, it seems like the Klingon people are very barbaric.
But there is honor to what they do.
Right. There's a method to their barbarianism.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's interesting to see how the Klingons have evolved from adversaries in the original series to a complicated ally.
Right.
And I like the role of the complicated ally that they play.
I do too. There's no there's no right or wrong answer. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think you're right about that.
Yes. Is there anything else you want to say about this episode?
No, but we don't see the Rashenkos again, right?
No, unless they show up on Voyager at some point and I missed it.
You missed it.
Yes.
Okay, fair enough.
Fair enough. Or and maybe they're on Discovery at some point.
Yeah. Yes. Well, I don't have any plans to watch Discovery or Picard.
Picard really sucks.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my God. Were you guys trying to ruin my childhood when you made this?
I just don't understand the whole trend of remaking everything.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's just no point. I mean, if a show ends on a good note or a great note, and you're happy with the ending of the show, then just let it go.
From a financial perspective, I totally understand why a studio would want to bring something back. But creatively, it feels very empty. To
I would
just keep
imagine.
going back to the same well.
Yeah, it's like, why? Why? I mean, we already went through it. Why do we have to go through it again? And why does it have to be added on? I understand if they find a creative way to continue things, like make an entirely different show and not remake it. Maybe it's loosely based on whatever it is, but not to remake the same show. I don't know.
Yes.
Unless you can find a way to do it creatively, it usually doesn't go very well.
Like, I love the Seinfeld reunion on Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Okay.
But that's an example of Larry David, who helped create Seinfeld, along with Jerry Seinfeld, doing it in a fun, original way. It rarely comes off like that. I don't
have a problem with reunions at all. I mean, make it into like a show, right? I don't mind that, but rebooting a show is different than a reunion.
Have you seen the Seinfeld reunion?
No, I haven't.
It's pretty good. It takes a while to get into it because it's like a big build-up.
Right. Okay.
But I like the way it's done.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have no problems with reunion shows. I have no problems with reunion movies, but rebooting an entire show, an entire series is just I don't like it.
Yes, Jay. Whoa.
Mm-hmm. But anyway.
Anything else you want to say about these 2 episodes?
No.
You like them, though? You would agree with me?
Yes, I would.
Very good.
Yes, they are very good.
Very good.
As complicated as they were very good.
Oh my goodness.
What?
No, nothing. I don't know.
You would agree they're complicated.
I would say that's true, but I like complicated shows sometimes.
I do too.
Yes.
Not always easy to keep up, but I do like it.
No. Jaylo?
Yes.
I was going back and forth whether or not to show you the movie Bugsy.
Yeah.
We already kind of talked about it. I saw it as a little kid, loved it so much that I watched it to death, broke the cassette. I even remember the hard plastic shell that my copy of the movie had over it. And, it was one of those movies, I don't think I said this the other day when we were talking about it, but back in the early 90s, I'm sure they still do this now, they used to make cartoon versions of TV shows for Saturday morning. Like, they had the Bill and Ted cartoon.
Cartoons of movies, you mean, right?
Yes.
They also had Attack of the Killer Tomatoes.
I didn't see that one, but I remember the Back to the Future cartoon. Mm-hmm. And
I never saw that one. That's cool.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I remember talking to my mom and saying, do you think we will ever see a Bugsy cartoon? Or how do you think they will ever make a sequel to this movie since he died at the end?
Oh, there won't be a sequel.
Yes. Maybe they'll do a reunion at some point.
The Bugsy Bunny and Tweety show.
Right.
I'm sorry.
And I looked at this movie like, I don't feel this way now. I should say, I was 9 when I saw this movie. Mm-hmm. But it was like a superhero movie before superheroes because he's this character who gets into all these bizarre situations. Yes, he dies at the end, but look at all the crazy adventures along the way. I even watched the movie Mobsters, which is a horrible movie.
Yeah, I didn't really care for it either.
I watched that like 5 or 6 times because it had Bugsy Siegel in it, even though it was a different actor, obviously. I was a weird kid.
Wasn't there another person named Mugsy?
I don't know about that.
Okay. Maybe that's not right. Maybe it just rhymes with Bugsy.
I'm sure there was at some point, but I can't vouch for that. And I like The Marrying Man because they had Bugsy Siegel in it.
Oh my goodness. A person who played Bugsy Siegel.
Yes, of course.
Not Warren Beatty.
No.
Okay.
So that's the backdrop to how much I enjoyed this movie as a kid. I want to say, even though I've said it before, I've heard that this movie is wildly inaccurate historically. Mm-hmm. Right? They take many, many, many liberties. So And it's kind of hard to discuss a movie based on a real person without talking about real life events.
Yeah.
In this case, I know a few things, but my knowledge is a little bit limited to how inaccurate it was. What I will say is, last night after you went to bed, I found an interview with his daughter, Millicent.
Oh, the actual Millicent.
Yeah.
Okay.
She has since passed away. And I believe when she died, she was so broke that they couldn't afford to give her a proper Jewish burial.
Are you serious?
Yes.
Wow.
But in the interview, she says that the movie is very inaccurate. She talks about how we actually lived with her father in LA for a while.
Okay.
Which they don't cover in the movie.
Yeah, because in the movie it's implied that they get divorced before that could even happen.
Yeah, and in real life they got divorced, but it was a little bit later, and they moved back to Scarsdale, New York.
Okay.
And apparently they were on a train ride, her and her younger sister, back to, I think, Vegas to see him. No, it must have been LA to see him for the summer. When they got to the station, their mom was there, and they drove over to Bugsy Siegel's brother's house. And his brother, I believe, was actually a doctor, and that's where they heard the news about his death.
Oh, so they did. So they were driving to the uncle's house first.
Yes, and then they
found out about Bugsy's death. Wow.
Yes. She told some story, and I know we're getting away from the movie. We will get there. They moved to Scarsdale about 2 years before he died. And Millicent was very rebellious. At one point, Esther, the mom, tells Bugsy this, and I don't know what to do with the kids. Millicent is very rebellious and insane. Apparently, he wrote the wife a letter explaining this is what it's like to be uprooted when you're a teenager, and this is how some teenagers react to it. And according to Millicent, the letter was very articulate and was a good summation about what she was actually going through. Wow. Yes.
Huh.
So, the last thing before we move on to the actual movie is she said the entire movie itself was pretty much fiction.
Wow.
But that's her take too.
Right.
Right. She wasn't in the life of crime or whatever.
No.
And the impression I got is that she really did not like the birthday scene in the movie.
I would imagine she didn't.
Because that never happened.
Wow.
Yes. Now, having said that, I look at this movie as a movie now, because I'm older, and not as like we're watching a documentary of the real Bugsy Siegel.
Superhero for all children.
So if you're looking, superhero to all children.
What you thought when you were 9.
You don't know how many times I crowed to this movie on the playground or to friends.
Oh my goodness.
So if we look at it as a historical document, it's horrible. But if we view it as just a film, which is hard for me to do in most cases, but I can in this particular one, I think it's a great movie. Let me tell you about the actual film. Okay. Unless you want to, but I think I should.
No, I think you should because you've seen it more than I have, and I there's some things I didn't understand about it.
Yes, and we will discuss those things afterwards.
Okay.
It starts off, Bugsy Siegel is hanging out with his daughters. There's snow around. It's implied that it's around Christmas time. He leaves them and says, we're going to have dinner tonight. He goes off to this hotel, meets this lady in an elevator, has sex with her, gets a call from Meyer Lansky, goes to buy some clothing. We think, okay, maybe this is for his trip. He ends up seeing somebody who's in charge of some of their business dealings and pulls out these shirts and say, hey, we know you're stealing from us. This is the second time in 2 years. So I'm going to give you shirts that I personally wear, so you're not just stealing the shirt off of my back. Eventually, he kills the guy by shooting him and just walks out of the back office.
Oh, wow.
Goes to see his family after talking to Meyer Lansky and says, we want you to go out to L.A. and get Jack Dragner, who was a gangster out there, to join our operation. After he sees the kids, he talks to his buddy Harry Greenberg, who says, I need another $50,000 from you. I have some gambling problems. Eventually gets the money. Ben goes to L.A., meets his friend George Raft, and they were actually close in real life and grew up together. Mm-hmm. George Raft was a movie actor. He shows him around the neighborhood. Eventually, Bugsy makes him stop the car at Lawrence Tibbetts' house.
Right.
Goes into the house completely out of the blue.
Yeah.
And
says, hey, I think you're an awesome singer. I would never want to hurt you. I revere you. But how much are you willing to pay me for this house?
Right. Well, he says...
Yeah.
First he says, how much did you pay for this house?
Yeah. $3,500.
$35,000, but that was a few years ago. I could get 40 now, maybe more.
Oh my goodness.
Here
we go.
What? And then Bugsy's like, I'm staying at I think it was the Beverly Hills Hotels. What do you like?
Yeah.
Do you like the bungalows or the suites? Well, the bungalows, but why? And he's like, I'm buying this house from you. Here's counts out some money. He says, here's $50,000. Would you like that? And he says, $50,000 is more than enough. No, I want to make sure we're fair, and that this is a perfectly equitable deal for the both of us. Here's another stack of money. That's an extra 10. That's $60,000. Are you happy? And he's like, Mr. Siegel, Ben. Are you happy? And he's like, well, yes. Why don't I see you smiling?
You hear what I have to deal with, folks.
There was also a discussion about, you don't have any relation to Bugsy Siegel, do you? A bug? What is bug? A bug is nothing. We're not going to go there. You get the picture.
Yeah, he doesn't like to be called Bugsy.
Right. Eventually, he ends up at Jack Dragner's house. He gives him a speech about why he should join their operation. Owning a wire service, not subscribing to a wire service. Okay, I won't give the speech.
Oh my goodness!
Because I'd have to start from the beginning.
It's gonna go on and on for the next hour.
It's like, you could do that, or you could take this gun. You could shoot me. Take 5 seconds. Think about it. Okay, so he joins the operation. That's the whole point. Anyways, he sees George Raft on a movie set shooting a film, and Virginia Hill is in it. He starts talking to her after giving her a light for a cigarette. Decides he's going to start chasing this girl. So there's this montage of him calling her.
Every day.
And maybe we should skip over some stuff. So at some point, he is watching a film reel of him doing a test for a movie.
Yeah.
Esther calls. They're having a discussion about whether they should come out. And he's like, I want you guys to join me in LA. Then...
Instead of me going back to Scarsdale, maybe you guys should come over here.
Virginia's car pulls up. She gets out and he's like, but on the other hand, do we really want to remove the kids from school right now? She comes into the house. They start making love. Mickey Cohen robbed Jack Dragner.
Uh-huh.
Bugsy knows that they've been taken for $56,000. He eventually gets in touch with Mickey, who says it's actually $42,000, which means that Jack ripped him off of some money. Mickey also tells Bugsy about all the other men that Virginia has been with. Right. So they get into an argument. Jack comes over, and I will say that this scene is a little bit disturbing.
It is.
When Bugsy confronts him and makes him bark like a dog.
That was probably the most disturbing scene I've ever seen in that movie.
My mom agreed with you because she didn't like that scene either.
That was really disturbing. There's a lot of disturbing things in the movie.
Yeah. And I would happen to agree with you.
Yeah.
So let's maybe move the story on a little bit. Eventually, some time goes by, and Bugsy has to go check on this operation in Las Vegas because they have a casino there. Mm-hmm. He goes there with Mickey Cohen and Virginia. She's like, we should close this place. Mickey's explaining that it makes a lot of money, even though it doesn't look good. Bugsy closes it. They're driving, and he's having this back and forth with Virginia. Mm-hmm. Eventually, he stops the car, gets out. She's like, what is he doing?
Yeah, exactly.
And then he's like,
I think he's taking a leak.
No, looking for a place to take a leak, I guess.
Yes. And he's just standing there looking around.
Yes.
And that's when he gets the idea of opening
the Flamingo. He comes back to the car and says, I just had the best idea I ever had. And
then she's like, yeah, well, I just had the best idea I ever had. And then she drives off and leaves the two guys there.
And Bugsy's like, isn't she great? And he's like, oh, yeah, just what I always wanted. A broad to leave me in the middle of the deserts to die and get eaten by buzzards.
I'd say that was a funny scene.
Yes. Okay. Rick needs to stop quoting at this point.
Yes, Rick needs to.
They go back to L.A. He is trying to get in contact with Virginia. Eventually, he's talking to Lilith, B.B. Newworth, who plays the Countess.
The wife of the count. The wife of the count. Yes.
Yes, because a subplot in this movie is Bugsy wants to assassinate Mussolini.
How? I don't know.
Yeah. He sees Virginia in the club, goes over to her, and she's with the guy who ends up playing Chakotay on Voyager. That's not important for this purpose, but I have it.
It's super cross-referencing.
Right. She goes. It's weird. And Bugsy has to fly back for Millicent's birthday party.
Yep.
While he's getting the cake together, Mario Lansky and associates come over to talk about, you should never close this place down, Ben. It's very profitable. He says, that's great, but I want to open this hotel. And he tells them about it, and it's going to be this great experience. And Meyer's like, well, couldn't we just use Cuba? It's like another state. And like I said, it's like another state, but it's not another state. Mm-hmm. They could always kick you out. Mm-hmm. But if we put together the infrastructure, we could have control of the whole place. Meyer's like, what place? And he's like, the States. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to go into quote mode, so I'll just say that they agree to fund the flamenco as long as it stays within a $1 million budget.
Right.
Some stuff happens. I'll skip over him.
Thank you.
Throwing Chip outside the window, and it's like,
thank you, Chip.
Why didn't you tell me? This is Chip. Okay, I'm skipping.
All right.
All right. He gets Virginia on board. I just want to make sure you know that I actually did see this movie before.
A lot.
As you can tell.
A lot.
Yes. Ben, he's my brother, you maniac. Anyways.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, you poor baby. Okay, all right.
Okay.
Eventually we see them and the budget has skyrocketed to $2 million. And, things are going back and forth. He's a little upset with the way Virginia is talking to the architect. Mm-hmm. Harry Greenberg comes back into the picture. Ben says, you can stay with us. I know that you did a bad... I'm paraphrasing. He didn't say this, but the basic idea is... You
can take a nap upstairs.
You can take a nap, and we know that you screwed over some of our friends by turning them into the cops. Okay. Later on that night, he goes with Virginia on a car ride with Harry Greenberg. Mm-hmm. They're having a nice conversation, talking about the collapse of marriage. Ben stops the car, gets out with Harry near a train track. They walk. He kills Harry.
Right there. And you could see you can hear the gun, right?
Yes.
Are you able to see it?
No.
Okay.
You hear the gun, and there's also a train. And Virginia goes out of the car to look for him.
And she's like, what did you do? What happened?
And they just go off.
Uh-huh.
Okay. That happens. The price of the casino keeps going up. Mm-hmm. I think at one point it's at like $4.5 million. Mm-hmm. He's in Vegas looking over the construction site when he's arrested for Harry's murder. Apparently, they can connect him through the driver. Bugsy had bribed the local sheriff. Mm-hmm. So he gets the name of the cab driver who dropped Harry off at Bugsy's place and gets him a new job out of state. Well, Mickey Cohen does.
Yeah.
Okay. Moving the story along.
Mm-hmm.
When Bugsy gets released from prison, Meyer Lansky meets him. He gets inside Meyer's car, and they have this discussion where he says, Meyer tells him, the flamingo is now going to cost $6 million, Ben. We can't have this. The other mob guys know about $3 million. I'll get right to the point. If you can come up with 2, I'll get the other $1 million. Mm-hmm. And Bugsy's saying, no problem. I'll sell everything I own, including my shares in the casino. Mm-hmm. And Meyer ends the conversation by saying, when we were kids, you always looked out for me, Benny. And I'm not sure if I can look out for you. He gives him a suitcase that has some money in and says, add this to the $2 million. Gets outside the car, says, I miss you, Benny. Uh-huh. So he sells most of his stuff, including overselling shares of the Flamingo Hotel. Mm-hmm. Right? All right.
Mm-hmm.
We hear through Harvey Keitel, who played Mickey, that Virginia had stolen about $2 million that she put in a private account, right, in Switzerland. Bugsy doesn't want to believe this, decides to ignore this. We go to a meeting with the mob bosses.
Without Bugsy, he's not in the meeting.
Yes, exactly, because the mob bosses are discussing what do we do about this situation. It's out of control.
Did Bugsy really know about it? Or?
Yeah, and also this is going to bring a lot of heat down on us.
Yep.
So they decided we're just going to see what happens. Hotel is about to open. Virginia and Bugsy have a huge fight. He confronts her about the money. She decides to walk out while denying it.
Yeah, she basically tells him that he's on his own now.
Mm-hmm. I'm not going to quote it. I was just about to.
No.
Bye, Ben. You're on your own.
Yeah.
Anyways, she says more than that, but you get the gist.
Yes.
Okay, the hotel opens Christmas 1946. There's a lot of problems, including a power outage. So Bugsy says, we are going to close down temporarily, and we would like to invite you to our grand reopening on Friday. I believe. Or we're going to close down on Friday. Anyway, I'm not going to get caught up in that minutia. Meyer calls him and says, we need to have a meeting in LA with you and the mob bosses. Will you fly back tonight? And he says, I'll do it if you promise to protect Virginia. Before he hangs up the phone, he's like, Meyer, let me give you one last piece of advice. Keep your sock in the Flamingo Hotel.
Yep.
You'll thank me later.
Yep.
He's about to get on the plane. Virginia comes back, shows him the proof that she stole the $2 million. And it's like, I don't know. Maybe I thought I'd buy you some hot dogs at Coney Island.
Okay.
He says, keep the $2 million. Maybe get us those hot dogs.
Yeah.
Flies out, has a meeting. Mickey Cohen drives him back to his place. And he's like, Bugsy says this, you were wrong about Virginia. She was willing to take a plane flight with me tonight. And Mickey's like, I don't want to talk about Virginia tonight.
Right. Yeah.
Gets outside of the car, puts on a screen test. Bullets.
He's watching a video of a screen test.
Yes.
Yeah.
Projection.
Yeah.
Bullets riddle his place and he's killed. Last scene, these mobsters pull up to the hotel. They walk in and they say to Virginia, we're taking over. She's like, Bugsy Siegel controls. And then she says, Ben Siegel controls the Flamingo Hotel. And they're like, Bugsy Siegel is dead, Virginia. He died earlier tonight.
Yeah.
And she walks out of the hotel. We hear the music. Have some closing credits basically saying, this is what really happened. Virginia Hill gave the money to Meyer Lansky 2 weeks later. As of 1991, Las Vegas has made like $100 billion based on Bugsy Siegel's $6 million investment. And we find out that Virginia Hill killed herself in Australia.
Yeah.
And then they show what was then the modern Las Vegas Strip of 1991. And all these hotels are flourishing. And that's when the movie ends.
Yep.
I hope I did a good job giving a description of the movie.
That and so much more.
Right. I could have made so many more quotes, babe. Yes. But we know how much I love the movie. And I was very afraid that at most you were going to give this movie a 5. But what were your thoughts on it? Now that we know all of mine.
I gave it a 7, but not a strong 7 just because gangster movies aren't really my thing. I've watched that one. I've also watched Gangs of New York, and I'm just not into the gangster stuff. But and also because there were some really disturbing scenes in there. However, Warren Beatty did a fantastic performance of Bugsy Siegel. It sounded like he was really crazy. But I will say that the storyline was interesting. I think Bugsy's relationship with Virginia Hill was really very dysfunctional. As much as his relationship was portrayed to seem like it was dysfunctional with his wife, Esta, and his daughters.
I heard that in real life, his relationship with Virginia Hill was even more crazy.
That doesn't surprise me.
Some people speculate that she actually had him killed.
Whoa.
I can't speak to that. I don't know if that's true, but I've heard those rumors.
Okay. So
Right.
this is crazy, but their relationship is like crazy on steroids.
Mm-hmm.
Correct. You would imagine.
Yes.
Crazy on steroids. Yeah.
What do you think? And again, we're talking about the movie characters, not the
Okay.
real life people.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah, because I don't know anything about them really.
Yes. In some ways, I feel like I know them less from the movie than I would had I not seen it. But what do you think Esther teaches us about trying to hold a family together?
I think that she is just barely hanging on by a thread. I mean, she's pretty much in the movie. She's portrayed as really being alone in this because she doesn't know half of what. It sounds like she doesn't know half of what Ben Siegel is doing behind her back. She probably doesn't even know about Virginia.
I think that she knows that he's cheated on her. She may not know about Virginia.
Actually, I was wrong about that because she said, "You're cheating on me with somebody.
Mm-hmm.
You want to be with her. You don't want to be with me. You want a divorce, don't you?" So she's pretty much caught on to that.
How did you feel about the scene in both the restaurant and the bathroom after we won the war?
It's interesting because these people are celebrating the end of the war, but there's turmoil in the Siegel household,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like two different lives, right? These people are so happy that the war is over, but Ben Siegel has a war at home that he is not able to fix.
What do you think Meyer Lansky, the character, teaches us about wanting to be there for our friends?
I think he's stuck, right? Because it's implied that he knew Ben Siegel since they were kids. I would imagine that I don't know about Meyer Lansky's life. I don't know if he grew up in the mob.
They did.
They did.
They
okay.
started off together in real life.
Oh, okay.
As
so
young kids.
I was wondering if maybe they weren't thinking that they were going to be in the mob when they grew up.
And when they were kids, they started this thing called the Bugs and Meyer gang, and rose through the ranks of. They were very. They're close and involved in organized crime from a very early age.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Wow. I don't know. I'm not sure how to answer that question.
What can we learn from Warren Beatty in this film about working with people who have done us wrong?
You mean working with characters that were being portrayed as mobsters?
Well, working with people who have screwed us over. So, like, I'm thinking about specifically the stuff with Harvey Keitel, who played Mickey Cohen in this movie. He could have easily had him killed for robbing Jack.
Right,
But instead, he brings him into the operation and makes him his right-hand man.
That's what I don't understand. I didn't understand about the movies. Why would you work with people that did a number on you? I don't know. That's one of the things I didn't understand about the movie.
I believe his rationale, and he says it at some point, why would I want to work with the people who got robbed? And I would rather work with the people who robbed me instead of the people who got robbed, because somebody like Mickey would probably be able to point out the holes in his organization better.
Is that why he said, hey, the thing with Mickey Cohen, I got that all figured out?
Exactly.
I'm just going to use him. I'm just going to have him work for me.
Right. And the reason he was so mad at Jack is because Jack was already in his good graces and screwed him over. Mickey, at the point where he robs the business, is an outsider still. Do you think we can learn anything from this?
I'm still trying to understand it. So I don't know how to answer that question.
Okay, that's fair enough.
Yeah. I'm trying to understand the mob mentality, I guess.
That's fair enough. Maybe you need to watch more mob movies. I don't know.
Not really.
Okay.
It's not my thing.
What can we learn about chasing our dreams?
What dreams? To commit crimes?
He had this dream to make Las Vegas.
Oh, I'm sorry, Las Vegas, yes. Yep.
A go-to destination. And he's basically in opposition with the rest of the mob. And gets killed for it.
Yeah, yeah, wow. Well, he did it, I guess. He wasn't alive to see it happen, but it happened. Even though he got killed for it, he was willing to do that.
Does this movie teach us that sometimes our dreams are bigger than us?
Yes. I would agree.
Mm.
Or maybe that some dreams are not worth going after.
Really?
Well, maybe not worth going after, but you could suffer consequences for going after it.
Let me readjust myself. But then I have another question that you just brought up to mind. Sorry, I'm laying down on your bed.
All right.
Do you think our society is better or worse because of Las Vegas?
Yeah, I don't know. I have not been there. The only reason why I would really go there is to see relatives who live there. I don't care for the gambling. I don't care for the brothels. I don't care for there's like one legal brothel I know about. I've heard about. I don't care for all the high life stuff in there.
I have been to Las Vegas. Mm-hmm. I didn't gamble or go to any brothels, but I did go to 2 really cool parties. And
I heard the shows are good too.
Yeah.
I heard an interview with Wayne Newton because his nickname is Mr. Las Vegas because of his Las Vegas show, right? I heard that he wanted to transform Las Vegas into a place where families could go to. I'm not sure if that's possible just because of what's allowed there. I just think that he should just move out of Vegas if that's what he wants.
I think that some places should be an adult-friendly zone. I like the idea that we live in a country with a sin city.
But at what cost, though?
What do you mean at what cost?
I don't know. I mean, I suppose. I just don't... I don't know how to answer that question. I don't know. Maybe it's worse because of Las Vegas. I mean, why would they call it Sin City?
There's an argument to be made by that. Like, look at all the people who lose their life savings gambling. But you could say, look at all the people who are employed because of Las Vegas.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about that.
Oh.
I just don't. And I've never experienced Las Vegas with the whole gambling thing because the gambling thing is not my thing. Mm-hmm. And I know that there's other attractions, but I don't know. It's like a tourist trap.
Yes.
As much as any other place could be called tourist traps, but that's why their economy is going up because of it. So I really don't know where I stand on that.
One thing about the interview with his real life daughter that I forgot to say is that
with the Millicent?
Yep. At one point, she's hanging out with her dad. This is when the Flamenco Hotel is still being built, but it's almost near completion, I believe. And he takes Millicent and her younger sister outside to the back, looks out at all this desert and says, "Kids, this is all yours. I have 800 acres of land, and it's all going to you when I die." Mm-hmm. So he dies, and she says they both thought, "Well, what is this place? Who cares? It's just empty, space. It's desert." He dies. She gets married, Millicent, and her husband's father, I believe, is in real estate and gets the land sold. Everybody gets like $8,000 on the deal.
Wow.
She says, I don't even want to, in this interview, she says, I don't even want to think about how much money that land would be worth today.
Wow.
What is this film, if anything, or the real life Bugsy?
So it sounds like she didn't really want a part of a lot of the land.
Well, because at the time the land was desert.
Right. Okay.
So what does this film or the real life Bugsy teach us about being a good provider, or at least trying to be, for your family?
Well, I mean, this is just my opinion, but it seemed like, and I don't know, maybe I'm wrong about this, because I know that the movie portrayed Bugsy Siegel as this really absent father to these girls. Mm-hmm. And a horrible husband to Esta. So speaking in terms of the movie, I think that being a good provider isn't just providing land for the children of a dead father. It's actually being there and being there for his children in the most formative years of their lives. And so I don't know. I mean, that's my opinion. It seemed like he was just this deadbeat father and husband.
Does watching this movie make you want to do more research on some of the characters in it?
I don't know. It seems like a very crazy life and a lot of dysfunctionality. Seeing
this as an adult makes me want to read a book on Meyer Lansky and Bugsy Siegel.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And this morning I found a book about Meyer Lansky on Bard. So I think that might be my next listen.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Very good.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. Jaylo.
Yes.
Having now watched this movie, do you see how a 9-year-old like myself at that age could have loved it?
I suppose. A little too much, though.
What do you think about that?
An unhealthy obsession. No,
okay.
No, I'm just kidding. It was definitely, it seemed like you were very obsessed with it. I don't know. I don't understand how you would see this guy as a superhero still.
I don't see him as a superhero still. I'm saying when I was a little kid.
No, I mean when you were a child. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I still don't understand. It's not like you thought he was a superhero last week.
No.
I mean, I didn't understand how you would, as a 9-year-old, find this guy to be like the coolest guy in the world, but I guess I can kind of understand why you're obsessed with it.
Yes.
It's a total guy's movie.
Yes. This is controversial and sacrilegious in movie circles. Personally, this is my favorite mob movie. I know you're supposed to say The Godfather or The Godfather 2, but this is the one that resonates with me the most.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure you're going to get pushback from people that like The Godfather and The Godfather 2.
Yes.
And I'm completely indifferent to all three movies.
Would you recommend the movie Bugsy to anyone?
I don't know if they like gangster stuff. I mean, I'm personally, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know who I would recommend it to.
But you are glad that you watched it?
I guess. I don't know if glad is the word. I appreciate it because it is about somebody in history that has created the life in Las Vegas, the stuff in Las Vegas that you have today, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if I'm happy and pleased as punch that you that you showed it to me, right? I'm not tickled.
You're not going to be talking about it at your next church gathering about, oh, I'm so glad that I got to live to see the movie Bugsy.
Not really. It's not like the most epic event of my life.
Nice.
It's not like my wedding day or something. If I were to compare it to like the best days of my life or the best days of my life that I want to happen. My boyfriend showed me Bugsy. I can die now. It's not like that.
Did you like the music in the movie?
Yes, I did. I thought the music was great.
Nice.
I thought it sounded like the 40s, old country, riding in a, it kind of, when they were riding in the car and listening to, did they listen to music in the car?
On the way to Vegas, they did.
Was it old country? I forgot what it was.
I believe it was.
It kind of reminds me of how, when I used to ride in the car with my grandparents and they would, you would listen to old stuff on the AM dial. It reminded me of that.
Mm-hmm.
Reminded me of like simpler times.
There we go, Jaylo. Well,
yes, but it wasn't an epic event of my life. Watching Bugsy.
But you did like it.
Yeah.
Yes.
I didn't fall in love with it like you did, but I liked it enough.
Do you feel like you understand me better after seeing this movie?
Yes.
In what way?
You've got a very active imagination. A Bugsy cartoon, really?
Yeah, I was seriously, I was shocked that they never made, when I was a little kid, that they never made like a Saturday morning cartoon.
Instead of the Bugs Bunny and Tweety show, they could have also the Bugsy and Lansky show.
Right, well, they could have it. My thought was they could have it as like, he's like this guy who goes around getting revenge on people who did him wrong and wearing really nice suits and, having lots of money and stuff.
Glamorizing it for little children everywhere.
Oh.
Right?
Well, I was a little kid when I saw this movie, babes.
Yes, I understand.
Yes. Well, we could go on and on about this movie.
I want to talk about the next one.
I just want to say thank you for letting me show you this film.
Okay.
I feel like you've gotten an insight to me and the way I think from watching it. And I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Okay.
And I think that because you enjoyed it so much, you should give me a kiss.
Really?
Yes.
Okay. I enjoy kissing more than Bugsy, by the way.
Would this be in your top 10 favorite movies that I've shown you?
I don't know if they would be in my top 10.
Okay.
Because like I said, it wasn't really my thing.
Okay, but I'm glad that you liked it. Though.
But it was, I try not to make lists like that because they're just so hard to rate.
Yes.
So I just say, yeah.
Well, I'm glad you liked it, and I do not like it as much as I did when I was a kid, but I still enjoyed the movie.
But you think it still held up?
Yes. Yes. Not historically, but in other ways. Okay. Right. Now I'm aware that I'm watching a lot of fiction.
It reminded you a lot about your childhood, though.
Yes. Brought back a lot of great memories.
Yes, of course.
Of bonding with my parents. Well,
right.
No.
You're watching it again. I don't know if it's bonding.
Everybody in my family said that to me.
You are watching this again?
Yes.
Oh. That's how I felt when I was forced to watch My Father the Hero, but now I like it.
Oh, that's good.
And I enjoy it.
Yes. Anyway, Jaylo.
Yes.
After I showed you Bugsy, you decided that we needed to watch the film Babe.
Yes.
Tell me more.
I want you to chime in here because there's a lot of things in it. So Babe came out in, I would say, 95?
Sounds about right. I think the summer of 95, if I'm correct.
So this is about a little pig who ended up having to leave his mother because his mother was going to what they called pig paradise, quote unquote, the slaughterhouse.
Yes, the slaughterhouse.
They did it. I think they called it pig paradise because kids watch the movie, right?
Yes,
it's a movie for children. So they, and I think that the pigs in their own mind thought it was pig paradise, or wanted to just make it sound glamorous for the children.
In some ways, we were both lied to as kids because I was thought to believe that Bugsy was a heroic figure.
Well, I watched this when I was a teen, so
you were lied to.
I already knew that.
Oh, you did know that then.
Pig paradise. I was old enough to know that if it was called pig paradise, it probably meant that the pig was going to be killed. And
did you ever dissect a pig in high school?
Ooh, no! I dissected a sheep's brain and a cow's eye and a cat. That was disgusting. No, I didn't dissect the pig. It was gross.
In 1999,
yes,
our science teacher had the class work together to dissect a pig. Ugh. It smelled horrible.
Oh, the formaldehyde? Yuck.
It stank. Oh. But it was a really interesting experience.
Yeah.
Yes. Anyways.
Dissecting a cat was the worst. And I had the big fat cat. The two other guys in my class had the skinny female cat.
Nice.
And I had the big fat male cat with all the fur. Yuck.
Did you take any souvenirs home with you?
Oh, no. I was squeamish.
Oh.
I was squeamish. I was like, ooh, yuck. And I was the only one that had no vision in the class, so I had to touch stuff, and that's just gross.
Nice.
All right, let's go on.
Keep going, babes.
Okay, so Babe is this pig, and he gets onto this farm because the farmer buys this pig, I think, from I don't know.
What happened was they go to like a carnival thing that I think the entire city is.
And they have to guess the weight of the pig.
Yes. And Babe pees on him, so
Yep.
he guesses the correct weight. And I believe Gene Hackman had a cameo in this movie as one of the guys who's running the contest.
And it was implied in the movie that there was a look between the pig and the farmer. So they began to have an understanding, and he's like, hey, this is interesting. He never, this usually doesn't happen. He usually squeals by now, but he hasn't. And so it's implied that the pig and the farmer have this understanding. So he gets onto the farm. He meets a sheepdog named Fly, and meets her family, her children, and he's upset because he's taken away from his mother. And she's like, "What's your name, dear?" I don't know. Well, I am and he tells her what his breed is. He's like, "Well, that's your breed, dear. What's your name?" And he's like, "Well, my mom called us all the same." "Well, what did she call you?" It's like, "Well, she called us all Babe." And so that's how he was known to be Babe, the pig. And so he bonds with the sheepdogs, and he gets to know the children. They were always taught that sheep and ducks and chickens and pigs were the stupider of the animals on the farm, and that they should be treated as such. But they bond with Babe the pig, and he's getting to know everyone, like Ferdinand the duck.
And Ferdinand kind of screws him over in this movie.
Yep. Because he's trying to get him to do his bidding. Am I right? Yes.
Babe gets in trouble and is basically told, "You're not allowed to hang out with him anymore. If we see him, he's going to be punished. And this is why all animals should just do their own thing.
Do their own thing and stay in your own stalls and keep to yourselves, because that's not the kind of thing we should not be mixing the classes, so to speak, together." Would you mind chiming in, please?
All right. So eventually the little dogs are given to other families. So now it's Babe, Fly,
and Rex,
who is a horrible dog, we shall say.
She's not a horrible dog.
Rex isn't a horrible dog.
No, I'm sorry. Rex is a very mean dog, yes. But we find out more about him.
Correct. But this is before then.
Yes.
I forgot what happened, but something occurred that caused Fly and Rex to get into a fight.
Oh, Fly, I think, was telling Rex, "Oh, you must have had a horrible day," and I forgot what she said, and he bites her.
The farmer has to come out to break this thing up, and he eventually has Rex chained. Now, the wife of the farmer is very interesting because she's always talking about food and how we're going to prepare the pig.
How we're going to have the pig for Christmas dinner, and 3 nights of bacon and ham, and she's like, "Yum yum 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 yum." Her name is Esme Hockett.
But Mr. Hockett,
who,
says, "Well, maybe we should save the pig for our annual bake-off competition," or whatever it is.
Or, I forgot what it was. Yeah.
And then one day he sees Babe leading the sheep. There was this old sheep named Ma that he became friends with.
Yep.
And Babe is now acting like a sheepdog.
Yep. And he's barking, and and they think it's just hilarious. They call him a sheep pig.
Yes.
And so he's leading the sheep, and they're like, "Oh, they kind of take him under their wings," but they're like, "You shouldn't be talking to wolves, young, and it's not in you.
Yeah.
You should hang out with us. You shouldn't be talking to those wolves."
Eventually, the farmer gets the crazy idea, well, I could enter him into a sheep herding competition while Mrs. Hockett is away.
Yep.
So things are going well. But Babe is in the house. His mom dog goes outside
and talks to the sheep.
But
actually, this is after I think that's after Ma gets
right. But I said the mom dog.
Right, Fly. Yep.
Gotta listen, Fly.
Yes, I know.
Goes outside. Cat comes up to Babe, explains that one day you're going to be eaten, and that's why you're here.
Yep.
Babe freaks out over this, which I don't understand because, one day I'm going to be eaten, right?
We're all going to be eaten by the vultures and worms.
It's not a big deal, dude. Stop freaking out.
You're not gonna feel it.
Yeah. And the next day, they're all searching for Babe. We find him. He was out in the rain. He's sick.
Mm-hmm.
The farmer has to help him. Realizes we still might have time for the competition.
Mm-hmm.
Jaylo, take it from here.
We still have time for the competition. And so I think this was after the time where Ma gets hurt and is killed by a wolf.
Correct. And Babe is almost executed.
And Fly was talking to the sheep and wondering, well, who killed Ma? Who killed that sheep? Was it Babe or was it the wolf? And they were like, the wolf, right?
Yes.
And she's like, thank you so much. And she's talking to the sheep like they are her inferiors, because that's what she was led to believe, that sheep are much dumber than sheepdogs. And so, Esme, shall we go to Esme? she's in the hotel room.
Do your thing.
She's in the hotel room and she's watching it with her friends. And she's
The sheep herding competition.
The sheep herding competition. And she's like, oh, wow, wait a minute, Arthur Hoggett. She's like, did they just say Arthur Hoggett? She's like, that's Hoggett? She calls her husband Hoggett,
Mm-hmm.
which I thought's kind of funny. And so, the Babe is trying to get things in order outside there. And explain, so he's in the building, right? As this is going on?
Babe is?
No. Mr. Hoggett. Mr. Hoggett is getting ready to show Babe off.
So he's getting ready to show Babe off, and the officials say, we got to check our rules to see if you're allowed to do this with a pig, and apparently there's nothing against it. So they say, listen, technically we have to let you do this, but it is kind of sad to us that somebody who is such a respected member of our community is going to make a sideshow out of this event. That's my words, not them, but it's the basic idea.
Right, but we'll let you do it.
Yeah.
And so so Babe comes out. Is that right?
Go ahead.
Babe comes out and they are just hysterically laughing. In all the midst of this, Babe is talking to the sheep and he says, thank you so much for doing this. And first, what I'd like to do is call the 3 ladies with the collars.
You're skipping a little bit.
Okay.
He has some issues getting the sheep to follow him.
Yeah.
The mom, Fly tells Rex, listen, my man, Babe really needs our help. And if you want some of this dog.
Oh my goodness.
If you want to have some doggy style.
What?
You're going to have to
That's
help
not what she said.
That's basically what she was trying to apply, babes.
Oh my goodness.
So he's like, all right, I'm going to go see what I can do for him.
Yeah.
By the way, by this point in the movie, we found out that Rex used to be a great sheepdog. There was an accident. He blames it on the sheep. He lost most of his hearing. And Fly is giving Babe instructions. She's like, you have to treat them like you are their superior. We covered that.
Yeah.
So Rex finds the sheep on the farm, and says, hey, I'm not asking for me. I'm asking for Babe. He makes some concessions. They say, okay, here's the secret password to give to other sheep, and you're not allowed to tell anybody else, only Babe, and he can't tell anybody else, only these sheep.
And that's when they start saying, Ba Ram you.
Right.
Yeah.
He runs out into the field, talks to Babe for a second. Babe goes over to the sheep when it's his term. He says, Ba Wham you. And they're like, what did you just say? And he's like, Ba Wham you. So they follow his commands. Yeah. And he gets them all in a circle. And that's when he says, all right, I want the 3 lady sheep to come outside of the circle first.
Yep.
And then they come out. Other sheep join them. They go into this gate, and everybody is saved.
And meanwhile, Esme is looking at this, and she is hysterically crying.
Yes. Which I thought was great.
I thought it was too.
And at the end of the movie, to reward Babe, Mr. Porker, what's his name?
Mr. Hoggett.
Mr. Hoggett decides that he's going to reunite him with his mom by giving Babe a ham sandwich.
That's not what happened.
Okay.
He is allowed to live on the farm without being eaten.
And he's given some smoked ham that used to be his brother.
You're ruining it.
Sorry. Sorry, I'm remembering it incorrectly.
Oh, no, you're just putting your own spit on the movie.
Oh.
That's not good.
I wouldn't do that, okay?
Hey.
All right. Is there anything else you need to say about...
I forgot to mention this scene because this is a scene with the Hockett family and they're there for Christmas. And I think it was their son and daughter-in-law.
Something like that.
And they give them a fax machine for Christmas, and they're like, yeah, it's like you can write people letters using a phone.
That was cool.
And I thought that was really funny because this is back in the mid-90s where fax machines were being used. Well, people still use them, but it's like they were just getting a fax machine, and that was like the new thing. Yes. That was funny.
Overall, it was a pretty good movie. I'd give it a 7.
I would too.
Yes. Okay. What do Fly and Rex, and I actually asked you this last night,
yes,
teach us about spousal abuse?
You made it sound like so I didn't think of it this way. I would imagine that they would not have it in cartoons today.
It's a live action movie, by the way.
Okay, a live action movie part cartoon, right?
I don't think so.
Oh my goodness.
I could be wrong, but I don't remember there being any cartooning in the movie. But keep going.
Okay, what if?
Oh,
So I didn't think of it as spousal abuse. I just thought maybe he was just angry and that's how he reacted because he was very depressed about not having a lot of hearing.
So if somebody's depressed, it gives them the right to bite in.
No, I never said that.
All right, go ahead.
I never said that. I'm not saying that he should be excused for it, but I'm guessing that's why he bit her. I don't know. I mean, that's not a bad. I mean, that is a bad thing to do to your wife, but I don't know how they were. I don't know how they really are. You know, in because you only see them. You only really see them together in a couple of scenes, right?
Yes.
So we don't know how they really are together. So
let's speculate on this. Do you think that Rex and Fly love each other, or are they forced to breed together? And they if they had their choice, they would be with separate partners.
I don't know. I mean, maybe they are forced to breed together. But I don't know. I couldn't tell you.
Are they a metaphor for slavery? Because think of it. Mm-hmm. They're dogs. Oftentimes, farmers would treat their slaves like they're subhuman. Their kids are sold off. Oftentimes, that happened to slaves. Right? And there's a question about whether or not these two characters love each other, like there would be on many slave plantations.
I think that... well, you could think of it that way, but I also think that people use slavery as a metaphor for a lot of things today. Which there are things I would agree with on that, and there are things that I wouldn't agree with on that. Mm. And I think the plantation and the slave ownership, I think it's being used for metaphors for things that actually they're not metaphors for things. So I don't know that I would go that far.
Interesting.
Yeah. I don't know if I could say that.
Is Rex good?
I think he could be. I mean, he ended up being good to Babe in the end. But I think that he has a lot of issues that he hasn't dealt with. Would you say?
I would say that.
Yeah. He hasn't dealt with the loss of his hearing. I mean, when we see him in the beginning, he just seems like a big, mean dog, a bully. And he hasn't, maybe he just, I don't know. He's not well yet, I guess. He hasn't accepted it.
Is Mrs. Hockett a villain?
I don't know about her. I think she's an interesting character. I think she's funny. You know, the way that she's acting about the pigs.
Right.
I think she's funny. I don't know that she's a villain. Maybe she's just hungry for pig meat. I don't know. She's just hungry. I mean, I don't remember. I think she was kind of a heavier set lady, right?
Yes.
Yeah, you can tell.
Yes.
She wants some pig fat.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that the reason Mr. Hockett relates to animals so well is because he has trouble dealing with actual people?
It's possible. We don't know how he is with his wife. I think his wife doesn't understand him, but maybe she doesn't want to understand him. Would you say?
I don't know if I would go that far. I would just say that they're two different people.
They are two different people.
Well, maybe you could say that she doesn't make the attempt to really know what's going through his mind.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
She doesn't even try at all. Because she told her friend, well, I think he's better now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't think she's trying to understand him. I think she's just thinking, oh, it's a phase. He'll get over it.
Do you think that he regrets marrying Mrs. Hockett?
Hobbit? I don't think so. But I kind of wonder if maybe he should stop being a farmer.
Yeah, if he doesn't want to kill animals.
Uh-huh. If he's going to be attached to a pig, he should just... Or if he wants to own a farm, then maybe the animals shouldn't be raised for food. They should be raised for pets.
Is James Cromwell in the sequel to this movie?
I don't remember. Because it's been a while since I've seen the sequel, and I like the original better.
Nice.
But maybe I should see the sequel this weekend, or maybe on a weekday and tell you what happened.
That's right, Jaylo.
Babe Pig in the City is not as fun as the actual original Babe.
That's good.
Yeah, it is another live-action movie.
Yes.
Yeah.
It did make me want to have a ham sandwich afterwards.
Oh, jeez. I heard pigs are really cute, though.
Yeah. They're supposed to be really smart, too.
Yeah, and their coats are even more shinier when they come out of the mud.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Yes, they're cute, and I heard they're friendly, too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to say about these movies? Oh, real quick.
Yes.
Another question I wanted to ask. I don't know if we did her character justice. What do you think of Ma? And why do you think that she is somebody else who also takes Babe under her wings, so to speak? I
liked Ma. I think that she was another matronly character, and I think that she saw Pig as being a pig. She saw Babe as being a harmless pig that, I could mold him into a fine adult pig. You know, just like Fly. Mm-hmm. You know, we don't like we think sheep are superiors, but I'll take you under my wing. And we also think pigs are stupid, but but I like you anyway. You're a lovable pig. And I thought it was kind of cute when he's like, may I call you Mom? You know? It was sweet, you know?
Yes.
It was a sweet story.
Yes.
And I thought I did like Ma and the other sheep.
It's not the best film I've ever seen, but it's a fun film that you could show kids today, and the parents could watch it and not be bored to death, I think.
It's a good movie. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a fun, it's a fun movie, and I'm glad that Siskel and Ebert gave it 2 thumbs up.
Nice. And next week, it looks like we will be watching the Roger Ebert documentary.
What is it called?
Life Itself.
Yes. That's another artist documentary pick.
Yes. I consider him an artist, even though he's a film reviewer, because he actually did write a movie.
Was it brain cancer he had? I forgot what it was, because he couldn't talk after a while.
If I remember right, it was thyroid cancer, but the surgery to remove it went wrong.
So it messed up his vocal cords? Yes.
I forget the exact story. He talked about it in his book, but it's been so long since I've read it, because I read it like the day it came out.
I heard that his wife was interviewed on Oprah, and how she would talk about how he would communicate with his computer, and
he used the Alex voice, which is a very popular piece of software on the Mac.
Oh wow!
That I've used many times.
Okay, wow, I didn't know that. Yeah, so she was talking about his final days and how that was like, and
that's interesting because that Roger Ebert back in the mid or early 80s, I want to say before The Color Purple, dated Oprah for a little while.
Are you serious?
I'm dead serious. He talked about it in his book.
I did not know that.
I don't believe it's in the documentary, but it is in his book.
I did not know that.
Yep.
It must have been a brief time.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, that was before he was married to his wife, obviously.
Of
right?
course, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, I didn't know that at all.
Mm-hmm.
Just like I didn't realize that Ted Danson dated Whoopi Goldberg briefly.
Exactly.
No.
Yes.
I think they may have been dating when Corina was. I think he was in that movie.
No, he was in Made in America, babes.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was a different guy. Corina, she was in it.
With what was it? The dude who was adopted.
Dude was adopted?
Yeah, it's gonna drive me crazy. He was in Goodfellas. Was it Ray? Oh God, no! It's on the tip of my tongue too, and I know
he was the main man in the movie, right? I don't remember what his name was.
What's his name? It's gonna drive me crazy. I think he dated Melanie Griffith for a little while.
Don Johnson?
No. I think they dated, but they didn't get married.
Mm.
What's that guy's name?
It's okay. I can find out later.
Yeah, but now I'm gonna look like an idiot because I can't remember his name.
Mm.
Okay, that drives me crazy.
That's
well, this is how you know I don't research all my comments ahead of time.
We'll find out later.
Yes.
Don't worry.
Yes, but in any event. Adopted guy.
Was he adopted?
Hold on. Alexa, who was in the movie Karina?
Karina's cast member is Jaylo.
No.
All right, we're not going to find out the name now.
I will check it after this.
Yes. It's going to drive me crazy, though.
Yes.
Hold on. Alexa, who is in Goodfellas?
I don't see a calendar set up.
What? Okay.
All right, we're not finding out today. But some guy named Ray, who was an actor in the 90s, I believe was in Karina. But in any event.
Was it Ray Liotta?
Ray Liotta, that's who it was, yes.
I just thought of that name.
That's why
Ray Liotta?
Yes, it was him.
Okay.
Yes. But
was he adopted? I didn't know that.
Yes, he was. And there was an interesting story. He was being interviewed by Tavis Smiley, which is where I believe I heard this.
Okay.
He gave a magazine interview in like the late 90s. Mm-hmm. So this was after Goodfellas and, Karina and all that stuff.
Yeah.
He talks about how he's adopted. Mm-hmm. His real life mother reads that story and sees his picture in the article and says, "That's my son."
Wow. Really?
I believe he tracked her down. I believe she wrote him a letter saying that they had the DNA test and it was his mother.
Wow.
Yeah, I might be getting that story a little bit wrong, but it's something like that.
That is crazy.
It'd be funny if I can't remember his name, but I remember the story of his adoption completely correctly. But he seems like a really nice guy in interviews.
Oh, wow. Yeah. I get that feeling from hearing his interviews, and I didn't hear a lot of it. Mm-hmm. But yeah, Ray Liotta.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Well, Alana.
Yes.
Is there anything else you want to talk about?
No. Well, I guess I'll say this. I really enjoyed the food that we had, for the last couple of nights. It was pretty good. The kale salad and the burgers. And I think this was the second time I actually had Boca burgers.
You had them with me earlier at some point, right?
Yes, but that was the first time.
Yes.
But I've always heard good things about Boca burgers, and I'm thinking, Boca burgers. I'm not sure about that, but not too bad. Not too bad.
Good.
I wouldn't have known what it was.
Who knew?
Who knew?
I remember what I was going to ask you.
What's that?
What self-love exercises do you plan on doing this week, if any?
That's a good question. I haven't thought of it. I have not thought of it. I mean, I think as the week was drawing to a close, I started to get more sleep, which was very, very needful for me to get more sleep. So I feel a lot more refreshed today. I'm trying to think about what I'm going to read next. Whether it's learning how to play a piece on the flute or something else. I don't know.
We had talked about the book one day.
Yeah.
Which I really like.
The book?
Yes.
What book?
The book One Day.
Yes. That book, yes. I thought about reading it too, but maybe later.
Oh.
I thought if I couldn't figure out what I was going to read, I could also go with reading another mystery. From my favorite mystery author, Mary Higgins Clark.
Overrated.
Oh. Hey, that was just... You read a couple of books with me, and you liked one of them.
I liked one of them out of the 3 or 4 we read.
No, I think we... Was it 3 or 4?
I think it was something like that.
No, it was 2.
No, it was like 3 or 4. It was like one short story.
Oh, it was like a bunch of short stories.
And then like 2 other books.
It was the one you didn't like was one Weep No More My Lady, which I thought was okay.
But then there was another book that we read.
Before I Say Goodbye.
Yeah, and I thought Weep No More My Lady was really bad, and Before I Say Goodbye was just okay, but I did like the short stories.
Oh, I also read that one. I think I read it with you. It was what was it called? I Heard That Song Before.
Was that the one about the lady who worked for like a senator or something?
No, that was Before I Say Goodbye.
Okay.
Her grandfather was a senator.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and she was on his campaign.
Yeah. She's dead now, so I don't want to speak to
it was not about a real person. That was a fictional story.
I'm talking about the author.
Yes, the author is dead, yes.
Why do you keep moving your fingers towards my armpits?
Because I can.
Oh, what do you have? Well, in that case.
Okay.
Jaylo.
Yes.
I'm not going to ask you if you had any dreams last night because we already discussed it this morning.
Yes.
And neither of us experienced any fantasies.
No, we did not.
No. Tonight.
No.
But what I will ask you.
Yes.
Do you have any thoughts about what you're going to cook during the week?
No, I don't.
Okay.
Maybe I'll get some sour cream and some more sour cream because I've got some beans in my cabinet and make some tostadas. I don't know.
Nice.
I have you bought me some baked barbecued beans, right?
Yes.
Barbecued baked beans.
Well, I bought them for myself, but when the power went out, I brought them over here. And we just never got to cooking them, so I thought my Jaylo should keep these.
I wonder if it would taste good with as a tostada. I'm not sure, but it may or may not. I don't know. I think I have some black beans in there too, right?
I believe so.
I would have to check with you on that.
We could always go through your cabinets.
I would have to check with you on that
before I leave.
Yes.
Yes.
Because I don't remember all of the cans that I have in there.
Oh.
So maybe that. I don't know. Yes.
Very good, babes.
Very good.
Is there anything else you want to say, or do you feel like we did a good job of covering things?
Oh, I think we covered a lot.
Yes.
Yeah.
Watch Bugsy if you want a sense of what my world is like.
Yeah, how his obsession led to how he thinks about Bugsy as an adult.
No, it didn't. No.
No, I'm just kidding.
You make it sound like I have posters of him on my wall.
I'm just kidding.
Yes.
No. You can have some insights into how he thought as a child.
Exactly.
As far as this movie goes.
Right. And I didn't think he had superpowers or anything, but it's similar to a superhero movie in the sense that he got away with a bunch of stuff.
It's a Bugsy and Lansky show.
But more Bugsy, I guess, because, if you want to see him team up with Meyer Lansky, go watch a bad movie called Mobsters.
I didn't like that one either.
No. Didn't he have sex on like the roulette table in the movie?
I don't know. That was such a movie that was not so memorable to me that I completely forgot the plot.
Yeah.
I just watched it with my mom in the, what was it? Was it the theater? It wasn't that great.
No.
And it was a more adult movie, so I wasn't really into it. I think I might have been like 11 or 12 when I watched it.
We do not need to revisit that film.
When did that come out?
It came out around the same time as the movie Bugsy. I think they were released within like 6 months of each other.
Yeah, I think I might have been 12 then.
Like 92, 91.
Yeah, I just wasn't into it.
I think I saw the movie Bugsy right when Christmas Vacation started that year.
Wow. Okay.
So like right before my birthday.
Okay, yeah, I think I saw it once and I never saw it again, and I just no, it's not.
Mobsters, yeah.
That's not that. It wasn't that great.
No. Watch this movie for a better version of Bugsy, I guess. Yes. You haven't watched any other Warren Beatty films, have you?
I don't think so. What else was he in?
He was in Bonnie and Clyde, Shampoo, a version of Heaven Can Wait, Reds, which is supposed to be really good, but I haven't seen it, Bulworth, which is not great, but it's okay, and had a really good soundtrack.
Mm-hmm. No, I don't think I have. Or maybe I did see one that he was in and I just didn't know that he was in it. I don't know.
Yeah. Him and Annette Bening teamed up again, not just for the creation of their kids, but for a remake of a film called An Affair to Remember.
Oh, okay. I heard of that film, but I've never seen it.
Yeah.
Funny you should mention an affair to remember, because that was the theme of the homecoming dance I went to the first time.
Really?
Yes, it was called An Affair to Remember.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah. I'll never forget that.
That's good, babes.
Yes. Yep.
All right, Jaylo, unless there's anything else you want to say, any political speeches or...
No, not the time or the place.
Uh-oh.
No.
You don't like it when I bring up top politics, you?
Not all the time.
Okay. You sure we don't want to get into an argument? Although there's nothing really much to...
There isn't anything
fight about
much
tonight.
to fight about tonight.
Or today, rather.
Rather.
As far as what time is it? It's 12:17 now. So it's this afternoon, we're good as far as politics goes. We disagree, but we're not going to unload on each other.
Yeah, but we don't really... I mean, it's not going to be a knockdown, drag-out fight, but... No. We don't usually have those kinds of things, but there's nothing to really be passionate about right now.
That's right, babes. All right, Jay, well, do you want to give me a kiss? I know you haven't done that before, but you've always wanted to. When?
I will, though. We did this earlier in the episode.
Today?
Yes.
Okay, well, we're going to do it again.
Oh, my God.
It's your lucky day, babes.
Oh, my God. All right.
What's going on?
No funny noises.
All right, no funny noises, babes. Come on, keep it together, babes.
Okay.
All right, Jaylo, last chance. We good?
We are good.
All right, babes.
Okay.
All right.
I hope you have a great afternoon, everyone.
Yep.
Whenever you hear this.
Have fun and stay cool.
All right. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.